command of the masses.
Mayegun don come,
Mayegun diary political.
Mayegun don come,
This one not dey off in mind.
Mayegun don come,
Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Mayegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Mayegun diary, he dey hot like pepper. But every day, then they take money in bulk. Poor man pikin, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say, make we no talk. But thank God say, Mayegun don't come. So my people make you laugh.
Mayegun don come,
My people make you shout.
Mayegun don come,
Mayegun the command of the masses.
Mayegun don come,
Mayegun diary political.
Hello there.
Àwọn mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Mayegun làwọn mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. Again, this is Mayegun live.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Bó bá ṣe eré, àní Mayegun máa wí.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Kindly share this broadcast. Invite your friends. Invite your not so friendly friends. And tell them that Mayegun today again.
Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o.
Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one.
Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ o làwa mọ̀.
Somebody said I should continue from where I left off during the Sunday sermon. Trust me, I go bring all of them, join them together and make them a whole story. So we are going to first start from the signals coming from APC, Ekweremadu, for publicly admitting that Wike actually rigged elections for them in Rivers State. They were wondering why he took such risk. And even though it worked, but they are still kind of wondering how he betrayed his own political party. And that is where we're going to start from. So thank you. We're also going to kind of review the judgment that sentenced Ekweremadu, his wife, and his doctor to years of imprisonment. We're going to review the judgment today. And I'm also going to try and take you through, the opening of the Presidential Tribunal tomorrow, which they call the pre-hearing. So when I bring everything together, as usual, it is going to worth your time. Share the broadcast. That's it. Right now, I expect the Buharidins, the Buhari Didirins, the Buhari Dinotus, the Buhari Dijatus. I expect the Buhari Shukus, the Ngoziaris, the Unekaharis, the humbled slaves, the sophisticated morons, the crumb eaters, the ass lickers, the crumb chasers, the all risers, I would expect them to join us tonight, as usual. And if you know any, Just tell them that Mayego to today. Right, I did tell you that I am somebody who doesn't believe that karma is real. Even though for poor people like us, karma is like the poor man's vengeance tool. When you are unable, right, to fight your fear, so you just submit to the will of God and let karma do its job. To so many Nigerians, even though they are like divided along tribe, ethnic, religious, and most times class differences, yeah, this has ensured that the criminal politicians who come from every tribe in Nigeria, every religion in Nigeria, every region in Nigeria, which means I, as a Yoruba man, we have our own criminals contributing to the destruction of Nigeria. And I am expected as a Yoruba man to have at least some little bias, at least to support them. They are from my tribe. There's nothing, no, today they will say, there's nothing woke about trying to castigate your people, no matter what they have done. At least other people are doing same. Do you get that? So as divided as Nigerians have become, where they have also kind of loved their oppressors in a way differently. I've said that before. So this division has kind of given these criminals from all tribes in Nigeria a bit of immunity from general condemnation. Like, let everybody just condemn this person when they have done something wrong. Here you get. But in the absence of, in the absence of all of that, so we ended up with the worst of the worst. Anyway, when their politics was taking the usual dimension to expose more on what Nigeria truly means, people like us continue to say, listen, if you want to fight a system for any reason, you cannot fight a system by following the rule laid by the same corrupt system. You would have to like kind of rule by your own rules. It's a tough one, right? However, in Rivers State, where Wike has been in charge for the past almost 80 years, when the drama of, okay, hang on, there is this part where people like myself believe that the only enemies, the real enemies of Nigeria are those that so many Nigerians kind of love differently. But in my book, when you want to see those who are real, unpatriotic people in Nigeria, they are no other than your leaders. When you want to see those who have no loyalty to no one, not to your tribe, not to your ethnic, not to anything, they are your politicians. But when you look at those who shout more about patriotism, loyalty to country, patriotism to country, they are the criminal politicians. So over time, people like myself see them as the same thing, especially, right, when people like us choose not to jump on the bandwagon of defend your own. Because in the long run, the consequences, or let me say, the effects of their misrule, bad leadership, corruption, and the rest of that, the effect is not limited to whether you are a Yoruba, or you are Igbo, or you are Hausa, or Fulani. So to somebody like myself, when I see criminal, I call them criminal politicians, when I see criminal politicians in Nigeria pontificating about patriotism, pontificating on loyalty to country, but they are doing otherwise, they are those who have exposed Nigeria and Nigerians to what you call the world ridicule today, not mostly us. So in this 2023, it was obvious that they threw ethic, morale, and everything into the air. So Wike got a deal with APC, Ekweremadu, and they said within their circle, even though they asked him to give them just 25% in Rivers State, yeah, but to their surprise, Wike gave them over 60% of the vote, which puts to question the credibility. Part of what put to question the credibility or legitimacy of Tinubu's declaration. Anyway, to cut the long story short, he is also the same person. He is a member of a political party. It doesn't really matter to him anymore. He's a member of a political party. He is still there with them. But in his mind, to fight Atiku, right? So he made this deal for the sake of Southern Nigeria. That is his narrative. But the people who saw through how he sold his own brothers, sold his own party, they are always going to be very careful of him one day. So one of them, when Tinubu visited, is the, I think, governor of, is it Niger State or something? No, where's Badru from? I don't care. Anyway, one of the APC governors picked up the mic and he said it to the face of Wike. That, you see, you surprised us, oh, because initially we were wondering, like, what do you actually think, or what were you thinking, right, when you went all out for APC? Historically, they have no ground or foothold at all in Rivers State. And it became so kind of like, impossible. Then Wike did the possibility, but they were wondering, like, what would make you take such risk? I have the answer, because the camera switched to Wike's face and he looked kind of embarrassed. So let's start from there, because hang on. Yeah, let's start from Badru's confession about your 2023 charade.
When he said he will deliver Rivers to APC, I started wondering how. APC have never made 25% in Rivers. How can this man pull this magic? I've been sent around the country supervising and helping election. And I know how election management is. Then as we speak and we continue to talk, I see the possibility of him keeping to that promise. But then I started wondering, I hope this man will not injure himself in the process. Of course, our mission is the bigger one. The presidency can accommodate whatever risks he took. But I still feel, if he is the liberal president and he has senators and members of House of Representatives and also governor in PDP, how is he going to swing this? And true to God, the man delivered. I'm still imagining how. Most of us in APC know that I go to almost all the elections in the country and I supervise a lot of elections, and we do believe we are good in calculating and managing elections. But Wike has beaten me hands down. We thank you most sincerely for keeping to our words, for giving us that victory. And we thank you yet inviting Daddy today for this occasion, because I believe this will further cement the relationship between President-elect and the Rivers people.
So he was wondering, they did all their calculations all over the country. And Rivers State in particular, Tinubu stood no chance, no chance. Even to the day of the election, they just felt like, how is he going to do it? So what did he do? You know the story, right? And they felt like, what? I mean, like, what did he stand to gain? And this is like audacious. So, what would be that promised, whatever, that will make him go that far to the point that they declared Tinubu winner of Rivers State election. I mean, the winner of Rivers State in their election. But if you go to INEC website right now, if you have the time, go to the INEC website and see all of the results from Rivers State uploaded. Add them together. No matter how disjointed they are, try it. Tinubu lost. Tinubu didn't even get 10% of the vote in Rivers State. Yeah, Rivers State, I mean, APC didn't get 10%. On INEC website, where they declared the result. So they knew what he did, but the fact that he was able to pull it off, despite the fact that Amechi, who is from Rivers State, well, I think they are divided anyway. So some people started, kind of sharing the video to say, "Oh, with a Wike's breakfast will be served cold." When Kolu finally gets that power, because he kept telling him, "I owe you nothing. Don't try to kind of patronize me in public in a way to make it look like we have a deal or whatever deal. Don't make it sound like that. People already think that is what's going on, but please don't make it look like that." So twice, repeatedly, he told him, "No, you would have to do it normally," but he won't do it. He can't do it. He won't be the governor. So it simply means, right, no matter whatever Wike is pulling in APC, even as much as you say politics, their politics is no permanent friend, no permanent enemy. But you know, one of the things that some of them learned this time is the fact that nobody wanted them. APC, PDP, nobody wanted them. Like if people have their way, APC, PDP, right, they can begin to go into extinction, right, because after the 2023 elections. So they verified that. And they've put themselves, all of them, they've put themselves on record like, well, let's take a look. Let's see. What exactly is the message from the people if we have to review that? Yeah, we've had our way. We've kind of pulled it off. So who played what role? So that is where people are kind of more interested in what's going to be the end goal of Wike. It won't be governor anymore. Yeah? All the immunity and the rest of that, it won't have them anymore. So it will be at the mercy of breaking news from Tinubu. Like, Wike has been appointed for something that will just make him look like he belongs or is part of the team. But here is the worry. Those who are the Northern APC caucus, those who are from the North, they see Wike's action, right? They kind of see it as that of, if you bring this guy closer to anything, and if he can't get it or have his way, it will ruin and spoil everything. As a Northerner, to them, when it came to, listen, from the record, they said that the cabal that Kolu was fighting inside the APC, Ekwe, if you remember, they said this cabal, whatever they call them from the north, inside the Bukwari's government, they wanted the power to remain in northern Nigeria. And Atiku is their alternative. So you get that they were just ready to wreck Tinubu from within so that Atiku will have that chance. But they were dealing with Pablo Escobar. So they probably didn't know that while they were scheming, it was buying the entire building where they are planning inside. You get what I mean? They are using their position, right, to sabotage him, like he said. But what they discovered later was that the building where they are holding the meeting, Tinubu has already paid for the entire building, which means they were indirectly walking into his trap, and he worked for him. So what happened? Yeah? The moment the supposed cabal, the moment they lost steam, Atiku was left in the limbo. And somehow, instead of paying people to rig election for you across Nigeria, why don't you just pay the INEC? That's one thing I actually sort of pick up from that, that charade. Instead of you bribing police officers to help you rig election, why don't you just buy the entire police force and pick the people who actually decide things inside police force and pay them off? So they will do the job all over the country for you. Why should you pay INEC officials and pay them money when you can actually buy the entire INEC and let their chairman change his policy to your policy? That's what happened. INEC told all of you, you are all going to, only those of you who use your beavers and whatever they gave to you, only those of you who have those will be able to vote. Anyone without will not be able to. At the moment you finish voting, they're going to transmit your result to everybody, for everybody to see. That was the rule. But the moment Kolu entered the whole place, what happened? INEC changed his rule. No, we didn't say we would transmit results. No, we didn't say that. And that's exactly what Tinubu did. So, Atiku couldn't pull it off when they were already write the result. Obi, that put the stunt and the surprise, they made an effort, remember? There's on record that they thought he was joking. In fact, Tinubu and gang saw him as somebody who was going to help them to decimate Atiku. But from the northern Nigeria, at the time, when the whole thing was still like, it was pretty much like Tambuwa and the rest of them who wanted Atiku and the power to remain in northern Nigeria, they had the blessings of some of this northern APC too. So it was like, whichever, whatever happens, it's a win-win situation. Sure you get, if APC lose and Atiku win, power remain in the north, we are brothers. So if Atiku no win, and then Tinubu win, as members of APC, we will still find a way around to shop. So it's a win-win for them. So therefore, with the role that Tambuwa played, the betrayal of Tambuwa, that at the last minute decided to move all his delegates for Atiku, to them in northern Nigeria, that's a brotherly gesture. That's a very good gesture. That's a very good political gesture. Even though if it violates all the norms and the moral, the moral laws of what people will be like, what is right from what is wrong. So Tambuwa was an hero, not just to the PDP caucus within Atiku camp in PDP, even to APC people too. So when Obi started showing this movement and all of that, so to Tinubu and gang, well, that's a good win. That will help decimate whatever plan Atiku is cooking with the rest of northern Nigeria APC. This was kind of the impression at the time. Sure you get, Obi wasn't serious. It's just coming to divide Atiku's vote and all of that. So rather than for Obi to get the full support of the southern, mostly southern governors, that are actually PDP, for example, who are from the southern Nigeria, who actually met in Asaba. They met in Asaba. They had a meeting, and they all concluded that the power must return back to the southern Nigeria. And if that should be the case, it's fair enough to see if Obi or a Southeasterner will become the candidate of PDP. And then let's see who is going to become the candidate of APC. This was at the early stage. They now said anyone who comes from southern Nigeria, they must all work and support anyone from southern Nigeria in PDP. Okowa was the one who hosted the meeting. After the meeting, which means a resolution of the southern governors, so including APC, the power must return to the south. So afterward, the same Okowa decided to go and beg Atiku that he will be willing to sponsor the campaign if Atiku will make him the vice president. Now, the moment Atiku emerged from their Congress that later scattered before G5 or anything, so Wike, who also helped divided the southern Nigeria, politically, especially in their PDP, he had nobody to come back to. But out of that southern governors and all that, he found the three. He found the three with himself, making it 4. And he started what he called G5. So, Okowa, that should have been on the side of his brother, Wike. Now, okay, Obi moved. When Obi moved, it was practically kind of sensible, if you are their supporters, to expect somebody like Wike to put his weight behind Obi. Obi. Because before then, Wike publicly said APC was a cancer. PDP is still malaria. APC was cancer, which means he gave an impression that no matter what happened, win or lose, sink or sail, it will never touch PDP and it will never touch APC. So that impression actually worked more on those who didn't want both of them anyway. So Wike, who was in PDP, was kind of winking at the Obi people, the obedient. So therefore, they enjoyed the social media acceptance. Okay? Until everything changed. So to a northerner, that a southerner, like Wike and his utterances, would betray his party, even though Tambuwa possibly betrayed his party too, or maybe not. Sure you get. Okay, Tambuwa betrayed his party members, like Wike, whatever deal they had. The Wike decided to go ahead and betray the entire party. And today, PDP no fit do pem. Can you believe that? Where the Wike has been out, and you know what he did? He made mouth and he told them, he dared them to suspend him or to dismiss him. Sure you get? So he now went to court, so that court can give him an injunction, ex parte order, that PDP cannot suspend Wike, PDP cannot dismiss him, and PDP just be like, they are suspending people, they are dismissing people around who have not done half of what Wike is doing. But they no fit touch him. So somebody now said, Mayegu, as the tribunal open tomorrow, one of the expectation of Atifu's camp is that, just call this conspiracy. It's a theory. And the information came as reliable. Sure you get. But when in politics they say 24 hours is a very long time in politics, for those who know that very well, okay? But I'm still going to share it with you. They said that the long game behind the effort of stopping Tinubu, which is mainly coming from his own political party, APC, and they are mainly the CPC chapter of APC. Remember that. They are the cabals that Tinubu said were sabotaging him, and they're trying to stop him from becoming candidate and becoming president with all the drama around that. Sorry, where is that? Sorry, give me 1 second.
When he is doing the right thing and when he's doing the bad thing. Those who rigged the election know they rigged election. Those who didn't allow the people's will to prevail, they know it. Those who have heated up the policy, they know it in their heart of hearts. And the wonderful thing is that God himself knows them. We may not know. Even the court may not know. But God knows them and they know themselves. So the more we mention God, the more we should be on we should be on guard, not to be found to be using the name of God in vain. There are countries.
I'll come back to that. That man that don't fire him like mad, Otobo Keyamo and the rest of them, they fired him. It's Reverend Father Onoye. Is it Onoyekon? Onoyekon. Anyway, we'll come back to that. So they said the long game that the supposed cabal want to play after everything they've kind of plotted failed, in quotes. They said their long game is they want the court to do the job of disqualifying Kolu. It's a theory. And I don't want you to take everything hook, line, and sinker. The fact that you're going to hear about it, there are events that are going to pop up later. Sure you get, that are going to, in fact, show this up. And it doesn't mean it is a done deal. Sure you get, if you know every other thing that would have stopped Tinubu, they are mainly from his own political party, not from anyone from outside it. The same people inside the same APC government have been the one who have been doing everything to possibly save you, Nigerians, from Kolu. But it didn't work. But they said the long game was that the court, the same court, after they have sworn him in, the same court is going to disqualify him with all the evidence there. They say, in fact, some of these evidences that Atiku is going to present are going to be coming from Buhari's government, on Tinubu. You get? So when all these are made public, so Tinubu will be disqualified. And that simply means he won't be president anymore, right? And the same court is going to order for a rerun. And that rerun will not have Tinubu contesting. So it will just be Atiku, Obi, Kwakwanso, and others. Remember, I said it's a theory. If you like, you can put conspiracy in front of it. Conspiracy theory. So they said the reason why PDP is so powerless to act on Wike's shenanigans is because they believe that if the court should order a rerun, they are going to need Wike's help, no matter what he has done. Even though, when I heard that, I was like, people can make up a lot. Sometimes it will sound like a crazy thing. It will sound so sort of. So they are banking on that. So it will now be like it's not a Bokwari and gang that stopped Tinubu from being president. In fact, he was president, they sworn him in, but the Supreme Court says he didn't win because of this, and that. And in fact, he's been disqualified from running. Others are saying that if that should be the case, if the Supreme Court didn't want to create a vacuum, they can order the second person to be sworn in. That's where the obedient disagree completely with that theory. Now, rubbish they talk. That will not be good theory. But I say not theory. So that's why sometimes you should let people finish before you say, yeah, this is making sense. You see? I did talk about rerun. Rerun means at least if they order for a rerun, Atiku is asking for a rerun, Obi is asking for a rerun. But before the rerun, Obi is saying that he's got more votes and he's going to prove it. Not Atiku shouldn't even be second. Tinubu shouldn't be declared winner. He has the original result. He should be declared winner. Sure you get. Atiku is saying that he has the original result. That he defeated Obi and Tinubu. Therefore, he should be declared winner. But in the absence of the court satisfying that they both win after disqualifying Tinubu, the court should order a rerun. May all of us go back to the field and do the election again. But without Tinubu. Sure you get now. So those who are putting the theory then are saying that, so the reason why I have to make you understand that is because Atiku and Obi, they are asking for the same prayer. If you check it very well. If you check Atiku's petition, Tinubu's drug dealing case is part of it. Tinubu's, age, perjury, certificate, his education, his birth certificate and all that, they are part of Atiku's petition. If you look at Obi's petition, you will see the American drug case of Tinubu there is part of his petition. Same thing with, others too. And therefore, they are both asking the court to disqualify Tinubu from even contesting anything and declare them the winner, which is going to be tomorrow. So Tinubu's response is that, my lord, don't listen to all these people. I beat them silly. Throw all the cases out. So those who are now cooking the conspiracy stuff is that it is not that they won't swear Tinubu in. It will be sworn in because there won't be any vacuum. Bukwari won't spend a day. If Bukwari wake up on the 30th of May and they are still calling him the president of Nigeria, I can assure you one thing, that means you don't have any democracy anymore. If you are going to look around very well, you will see all the soldiers around. That means you have had a civilian coup. It's called palace coup. So which means on the 30th of May, somebody else is going to be answering Mr. President of Nigeria. Or can that person be thrown out by court? Well, we haven't seen anything like that before. Well, there's no point in saying that there won't be the first time. So that's what they call the long game. So at that time, it won't be blaming Buhari. It won't be blaming anybody. They won't be able to say, oh, you know what I mean? But there is also a conundrum. A sort of a confusion here. If the court says Tinubu didn't win and he can't contest and what have you anymore, a rerun is ordered, it will be between Atiku, Obi, and then Ekweremadus. But if the court says Obi proved more, that he actually won and is convinced, right, and is declared winner, that means they will have to swear him in that same day that the court will rule. It won't be the next day, that same day. Do you know what I mean? It simply means that whether not PDP, whether not APC, they will all come back as losers after the power play. That's if Obi just pull it, because from what I heard, it's not part of this long game for them. So like it shook everybody, surprised everyone, and proved to everybody that it is not a pushover in the old charade, despite the whole thing that happened, right? Then it can surprise everybody too in their long game or no long game. Anyway, where a Wike is being told beforehand, Sorry, 1 second though. So I've got a little problem with my phone there, so I just fixed that. So that's part of what people are kind of like, envisaging, and that starts from tomorrow. As for Tinubu and gang, nothing will happen. But people say, history, events. When events happens, they become history. Just like the one that just happened in Nigeria, that is throwing Nigeria establishment off board as we speak. So tomorrow, we are, now talking about Atiku and Obi. So today there is this clip making round. I don't know if I still have that. Oh, I don't. I'm going to get the clip, okay? There's this clip that is making round, and it was like Atiku snubbed Obi when they met at somebody's burial, mom's burial in Bayelsa, where Obi went to say, hi. They said Atiku snubbed him. Some said that, Atiku has a large heart. If not them, they're not going to even allow that Obi to near them. Guess those who are saying that? The Mechanites, the Atiku people, they are so angry with Obi that they blame him for Tinubu's emergence. And the obedient too are also like firing back. Now I'm going to kill you. She Atiku no too old. They're born him to come and be contesting Ronnie and the rest of that. Why in office step down for Obi? So this whole thing today when they saw Obi and Atiku, the Mechanites were like, see him. See, he's doing Ojuaye now. He's doing high service. If I was Atiku, I could just kick him and say, get out of my face. The obedient are also saying, man, look at Obi. If I was Obi, I won't even greet that Atiku. Sure, you get like that has been going on all day. Let me see if I have that clip. See, I'm going to go bring the one they said they snubbed themselves. Well, it's just partly. The whole drama starts tomorrow, right?
Your Excellency, especially Your Excellency, former President, civilian and military, and Baba of Nigeria, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, Your Excellency.
Anyway, so I found the clip. I'll share that with you, where they said they snubbed him. I don't think so, because it's just a very short clip. It's seconds.
Thank you. Thank you. Come now. Thank you. Thank you. Come now.
How now? Anyway, so that debate is going on out there, and I bet it's going to get more intense, and then as the days goes by. See, I want to take us through that judgment by that Old Bailey's court in London that convicted Ekweremadu. You know why I actually want you to see this, and we can have it as part of our chat before I start taking calls. People are talking about live streaming the tribunal hearing, the election tribunal hearing in Nigeria. There have been those who are for and those who are against. People want to see what's going on inside that place. What kind of arguments are these councils are putting forward? Just like the people who I have spoken to a few times said the reasons why they mobilized people to participate in that charade election was for them to gather a facts, to gather their own facts about how corrupt the political system in Nigeria is, first-hand information, and they were not disappointed with the mass failure, deliberate sabotage of the system by the same INEC themselves. So if anybody wants to see how a court in Nigeria is going to legalize what happened by saying no wahala was, you know what I mean, and declaring Tinubu winner, they want to see how that happened. They want to see who said what. For those who witness Oputa panel, there's nothing new in broadcasting live the court proceeding, because Oputa formed a court. Hang on, I think this is acting up. Let me fix it. Give me a sec. So Oputa acted like a court, but his own was not to hand out conviction. And in this election tribunal stuff, I don't think they're going to have to hand out any. They don't hand out convictions. Nobody's going to be sent to jail for committing electoral crime if the election is turned. If the result is turned, it will just be like, okay, fine. Nobody is held responsible. So why can't they stream it live? You know why? Because people like us can be able to profile every one of them and what role they are playing, Abi, and put it on record. And they said it's actually the judiciary on trial if that is done. Mark, fix this blinking camera. I'm coming back.
Jay, help us, oh. Help us. There is God, oh. There is God, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God, oh. God should descend, oh, today God will descend here. Nigerian women will not cry in vain. Nigerian women will not cry in vain. This thing will end today. My sisters, if your child lost, will you stay and keep quiet? Will you people stay and keep quiet? The president now is calling you, come, I want to help you. You don't want to appear. Will you agree? No. Now the first lady is calling you, come, I want to help you. Come to find your child, your missing child. Will you keep quiet? No. Child, there is God. Oh.
You get it? Okay. If you don't get it, forget about it.
Thank you. So there's nothing new in doing that, but they will likely not do that. The end result of your tribunal, even the judgments, they have already been written. It's been framed. By the time the whole charade about court, by the time it comes to an end, they will just have to change the date, change some names, possibly, and change this or that and all of that, just little amendment, and the judge will read it out to tell you, no case. But when you look at the way this Ekweremadus case, the way it went, it's a sad one, oh, sure you get. But like everything in Nigeria, it's all mixed. The feeling is mixed. The emotions and the feelings people expressed are somehow, they are mixed. And understandably so. Of course, we are talking about a man who has been part of those who have impacted positively and negatively on the lives of the people in Nigeria, and with what Nigerians see their politicians as, whatever come their way, they deserve it even more. That's Nigerians. But there are others too that still have this emotion that is bokun. the good ones that they would be like, oh no, even though I don't like him, but I really, really feel sorry for them. They are parents. I mean, I can't even imagine. I can all of that. So these expressions are mutual, you can say. And in my own, you see, in my own world, right? You are all right. I am more interested in the process, right? Than the actual result. Because it is the process that will determine the end result. So if the end result is terrible of anything, look at the process. That is how I diagnose everything about Nigeria so easily. Well, maybe not so easily, because it's a struggle every day, isn't it? So if you look at the process that brought Tinubu, the process that brought Atiku, the process that brought Bokwari, and on and on and on like that, if you trace them back, you can tell why the end goal is what it is. So I'm more interested in the process. Okay, somebody call it a due process. So if somebody is going to be tried for a crime in a court, they have every right to defend themselves, present all their evidence to back their case, and the system is allowed to take all of them in, process them one after the other. Now, if after all of that, the whole thing ends in conviction, even you, with the one jail, you go to agree with the judge. Yes, my lord. You are very right, my lord. I mean, you will be understanding what you have done. And here in the UK, if you are sent to jail, custodian sentence, where you are going to be in jail, some of you said that it's not jail per se, of course, but it's quite not bad. You know, it's a high-flying class, so it's going to get everything it wants, access to all it wants. He's a billionaire, a lawmaker. He's a multi-billionaire. His story is sad one, but caused by greed and selfishness, irresponsibility. So when this judge was telling this story, and that is what I want you to kind of connect with tonight, when Ekweremadu was being convicted and his wife, when the judge was explaining their roles, how they plotted and planned everything, as well as how those Nigerian criminal leaders, including royal fathers, they were writing letters to the UK courts, everything listed. And I want you to see if this is how things are practiced. It doesn't have to be perfect. Sure, you get. But the only way to sustain the integrity of an institution is to ensure that you don't deviate from its rule because of whoever is involved. That's what justice should be all about, not in Nigeria. So this is what makes it interesting. So to every one of you who haven't really seen much of this video, the judgment ended by an Old Bailey court judge against Nigerian Senator Ekweremadu, his wife, Eunice, their own doctor, over human trafficking, organ trafficking, and so many other things they accused them of. How they plotted it, how they faked everything. I want you to smell the Nigerianness in this story. And I beg you, if you really want to enjoy your mental health, don't bring this your mad Nigerian warped, my ignorant mindset of they don't like you. It's because Oyinbo don't like you. Oyinbo start jejely here. Your criminal leaders, they turned this whole place to their homes. They wanted protection of everything they've stolen from you. Sure you get. So gone are the days when the Oyinbo came to steal your stuff, Abi. Today, now your people, they steal your stuff, bring them to them. Sure you get. One of them now ran foul of the law. So I will advise you to keep your bias to yourself. Or if I can't help you, well, enjoy it while it lasts. But again, I want you to pay attention to this word for word. I'll be having break just to say one or two things before we continue. I'm going to take calls tonight. God willing.
Tear gas him. They tear gas him. He fell. He fainted. He passed out. He passed out.
To donating a kidney. I reject the defence assertions that he consented in any meaningful sense. I am sure that he did not. There has been a substantial and long-term adverse impact on his daily life. He is scared to return to Nigeria because of the risk of retribution from those that are sympathetic to you. He lives a solitary existence and is separated from his life, his friends and his family as a direct result of this offence. This all amounts to Category 2 harm within the meaning of the Sentencing Council's guidelines. I do not accept the Crown's submission that the nature and extent of the harm justifies a movement to Category 1. But it does warrant an upwards adjustment within the category range. The fact that the transplant was not carried out merits a downwards adjustment, but the level of that adjustment is limited because, firstly, the gravamen of the offence is the agreement that you reached to exploit the donor. The offence was complete at that point. The offence focuses on the conduct of the offender rather than the harm that is caused to the victim. Secondly, you did not withdraw from the conspiracy. Senator Ekweremadu and Dr. Beatrice Ekweremadu, you can remain sitting for the moment. You have each been convicted of conspiracy to commit an offence of human trafficking. You brought a young man to London to exploit him. The exploitation was the proposed donation of a kidney for reward. The reward was to be the payment of money and a chance to work in the United Kingdom. People trafficking across international borders for the harvesting of human organs is a form of slavery. It treats human beings and their body parts as commodities to be bought and sold. It is a trade that preys on poverty and misery and desperation. The evidence shows that those who are impoverished, often living in multi-dimensional poverty, desperate for a better life, and ignorant of the true risks, are sometimes willing to donate their organs for money or the chance to work in the UK. Significant risks attached to such donation without proper aftercare. You each played a part in that despicable trade. You, Abina Abetta, underwent a kidney transplant at the Royal Free Hospital in London in 2021. You said that you and your donor were cousins. That was a lie. The clinicians at the Royal Free and the independent assessors at the Human Tissue Authority were taken in by your lie. They believed that the donor was acting altruistically as a good Samaritan. The transplant went ahead. There is no evidence that the donor has been given the necessary aftercare. It is not necessary for me to make a finding as to whether you exploited the donor. But what is clear is that you learned from your experience that it was possible to manipulate, and corrupt the regulatory system by using a fabricated affidavit, by lying about your relationship with the donor, and by coaching the donor to lie. You, Senator Ike Ekweremadu, and you, Dr. Beatrice Ekweremadu, have a daughter, Sonia. She is very ill. She is suffering from FSGS, nephrotic syndrome. She needs a kidney transplant. Everybody has enormous sympathy for her and for the impact on each of you seeing your daughter's suffering. Sonia's uncle, Diwe Ekweremadu, knew Abina Abeta from medical school. He got in touch. Abina Abeta offered to help find a donor. A possible donor was identified. By law, his name may not be published. I will call him C. C grew up in a village where he had no electricity or running water. He left school at the age of 15, and he went to Lagos, where he sold phone accessories from a wheelbarrow in a market. He was earning about 3,500 naira a day, the equivalent of just £7. Tests in Nigeria showed that his blood group was the same as Sonia. He agreed to come to the UK. I am sure that he did not at any point agree to donate a kidney to Sonia altruistically. There was no reason why he should do so. He was not related to your family. He did not know Sonia or any other member of your family. Nothing was put in place to secure his future healthcare needs if he donated a kidney. The wealth and power inequality and disparity between you and C could not be more marked. You, Ike Ekweremadu, are a senator in Nigeria's National Assembly. You have held high political office. You had many staff, including domestic staff, maids, chefs, and drivers. You own multiple properties around the globe. There is evidence of as many as 40. More than £400,000 went into your bank account over a 6-month period. By contrast, C was unable to afford a £25 fare to travel from Lagos to Abuja. You each conspired together to bring C to the UK in order to exploit him. You all knew that was unlawful. You, Ike Ekweremadu, had been part of the legislature that had introduced the law that made that conduct a criminal offence in Nigeria. You, Abina Abeta, secured the visa. You did so by telling a lie that C and Sonia were cousins, the same lie that you had told in respect of you and your donor. You also secured a fabricated affidavit testifying to their relationship as cousins, just as you had done for your transplant. You asked the Ekweremadu family to pay C a fee of 3.5 million naira. The jury rejected your account that the fee was for his loss of earnings. The fee was paid by you, Ike Ekweremadu. The jury rejected your account that you knew the fee was a scam and that no reward would ever be paid to C. The evidence suggests that a corrupt relationship was established with a member of Royal Free Staff, an interpreter who agreed to help with, quotes, coaching the boy, end quotes, and to provide the, quotes, relevant interpretation, end quotes. You, Ekweremadu, were instrumental in establishing and controlling that corrupt relationship.
That is actually just the beginning. But let us point out the highlights of what that judge read out. In 6 months, when Ekweremadu was in jail in the UK and the trial was going on, his bank account received over 400,000 pounds sterling worth. I haven't converted that to Naira. Even though it's not in Nigeria, he is still being paid